I second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All right. Moving on to agenda item B. Consider the approval of the financial report on January 2021. Is Christian on the line?
Yes, I am right here.
How's it going? The floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you. What we have in front of us is the management report for the period ended January 31st, 2021. The first report is going to be about the statement of cash receipts, disbursements, and cash balances. Then we're going to talk about a comparative monthly sales tax revenues, the statement of net assets, which is basically like a balance sheet, and the accounts receivable aging summary. Okay, so the first report, like I mentioned, is a statement of cash receipts and disbursements and cash balances. It's a bird's eye view of a month-by-month performance of operations. You'll see October, November, December, and January. Of course, February, March, and so on has not happened yet. And then if you slide to the right, you'll see a year-to-date column, the annual budget, percentage to date, compared to the budget, and the remaining budget balance at the very far end. So if we can kind of go back and look at the January column, and again, this is what we collected in the bank account. We collected $566,000 in sales tax revenue. We also had some lease payments and some investment interest, and then we take out the interest earned in the restricted funds because this report is mainly talking about the unrestricted bank account. Okay. Cash disbursements. You'll see that we spent $250,000 we paid to the city. This is really, we put it here in salaries, but you could say also that we could allocate this among other administrative costs. And so this might be an item that we might want to look at when we do an amended budget later down the road. Contractual maintenance services, we spent about $320 on equipment leasing. Supplies, nothing there. Programs, we got workforce training of $5,000, and then we got research feasibility studies reports, $40,250 that we spent last month. Properties, utilities, $1,179. And then on the next page, you've got projects. We spent $50,000 to the audio investments shops, which is according to budget. So overall, we have a net increase in cash of $227,000. We started out with $6.7 million, and we have $6.9 million in the unrestricted bank account. There's two bank accounts that are unrestricted. They're the operating account and the sweep account. The sweep account, the operating account is kind of limited to $1 million, and then it gets, if it goes over or less, it gets swept over to the sweep account. Down below, you will see just a breakdown of our cash accounts. We've got two unrestricted accounts. We have some restricted accounts that are non-interest bearing, and then we have some interest bearing accounts, Greater State Bank, Techstar. You'll see the interest rate at 0.65 at Greater State Bank, and then the Techstar is at 0.7%. Okay, so overall, and again, just a summary, we have $20 million in cash. We have about $6.9 million in unrestricted and the rest in restricted. Okay. If you go back to the very far right, I just want to show you on the total cash, on the increase in cash so far for the year, we got $1.5 million increase in cash, okay, from the operations. Just want to highlight that as well. Any questions about the statement of cash receipts and disbursements?
This is well. I have a question. The can you go back up? What was the 40,000 for? I can't read it on mine. It's too small.
The 40,000 feasibility reports. Blanca, do you have any insight? Can you refresh my memory on the 40,000 who was paid to? What was for? Blanca?
You're on mute, Blanca.
Yes, I'm on mute. Let me pull up my information here.
I can find out real quick too.
The 36,000, or is it 40,000? What was the question?
40,000. It could be a combination of two expenses.
Oh, okay. So it's for the Buxton for the second year that the agreement that we approved, and then also the first installment for the UTRGV technical assistance for the first quarter.
Okay, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, they were both approved by the board in the beginning of the year, of the fiscal year.
Yeah, I was going to say if it was that report. I couldn't remember the name of it though, Buxton.
Okay. Any other questions with regards to the statement of cash receipts and disbursements? It's a good question. Thank you for asking. Okay. The next report is a recommendation by the board. This is basically a comparative monthly sales tax revenues accrual basis of comparing 2021 to 2020. And I've got a highlighted saying that cash is received 2 months after the performing month. So you have the first column is 2021, second column is 2020. Then we're showing favorable, unfavorable, and we're showing the percent of change. So basically the October, November, and December for 2021, I kind of want to highlight December. So those sales is what happened in December. So you're not going to be able to find out what that number is until January 20th. And by the time we come around to collect that, it won't be until February. Okay? So we actually kind of booked this $754,000 as a receivable on the books. Okay? So far for the year, we have earned $1.8 million compared to, you look at it compared to 2020, we're doing pretty good favorably. On the very bottom right, you'll see the percentage of change column. That 8% down there is an average. Okay, so we're outperforming 2020 by 8%. Any questions about this report?
Yeah, this is Danny. Any reason why we didn't put 2019 so it could compare what COVID times compared to 2019 before it hit?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time? Fiscal year ending 2020 is September 2020.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I would have liked to have seen what prior to COVID the numbers look like, because right here we're basically comparing COVID time to COVID time.
Okay. I can add a third column there for the fiscal year 2019.
Dan, I do have some of those numbers just from the overall city side, which reflect these numbers as well. But Q1 of 20, Q1 of 21 comparison, the numbers match up the same, that we are up 8% when you compare quarter to quarter, which is very important because Q1 of 20 was a banner quarter. I mean, it was, and so 21 we're doing real well. As part of that, something significant in there is that for the month of December, for the first time ever, the city collected we crushed at the 3 million mark for sales tax revenue. Wow. That's a historic high. So that just says, our local Christmas shopping was reflective of that. So that's, those are really positive indicators.
Yeah, that's exactly, I wanted to compare it. And if you're telling me we're doing good, and that's good news.
Yes, sir. Thus far, looking good.
And actually, this technically is 2019, October, November, December, and 2020, October, November, December, because it's the fiscal year, correct, Christian?
Correct. So if you look at the fiscal year in 2020, and you look at February, $453,000, you could say that was pre-COVID. And then March at 574, that was like the first month of COVID.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
So you'll see that again, the fiscal year in 2021, December, $754,000. We plan to collect that this month if we haven't already done so. Before the month ends. Okay, any questions about this?
This month they extended it till March 1st, if I'm not mistaken, because of last week.
Oh,
so
yeah,
all the payments they were doing the 20th won't be due to the 1st now. So we might see a little bit of a delay in collection.
Okay. But we'll continue to report this based on the performing months. So we should still have that same data. Whether we collect it or not, we'll have the data of how we performed. Okay. Any other questions about this report? Okay, next page is the statement of net assets, which is basically the balance sheet. We got the assets of what we own versus what we owe. You'll see you'll have total bank accounts, $19 million. And then we have the undeposited funds at 566, that's below accounts receivable. We had actually collected the sales tax on the last day of the month, but we didn't deposit until the first day of the following month. So you'll see current assets, almost $23 million. Okay, that's an important number there. We got total fixed assets of 5.9. You scroll down a little bit, and then you've got your Santana receivables and the allowance. So we got total assets at $41 million as of January 31st. Okay. And then the next page is our liabilities, which is going to be a recognition of what we owe based on the short-term bonds and the long-term bonds. And we have equity almost $14 million. Any questions about the statement of net assets? Okay, next page is going to be the breakdown of who owes us money. It's the accounts receivable. First line, you're going to see that City of Edinburg at $754,000 that we just talked about. Of course, you've got some other rents that still owe us, and that eco tool is still up to debate how we're going to treat that one. And then Santana Textiles, we just continue to send out invoices for the interest that's being accrued on the Santana note. So we just keep on chugging away on those Santana invoices for interest until we are notified otherwise. Okay, that's it for the management report. Any other questions?
None from me. Anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Villarreal.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Christian.
I think I'll need to stick around a little bit longer for the assets discussion.
Yes, please.
Okay.
If we have no more comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report for January 2021.
I make a motion to approve the report as presented.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your right hand, please. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Moving on to the fixed asset schedule from 9/30/2020 to be included in the fiscal year 2020 audit report. I think, Ron, you were going to take the baton on this one?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Thank you. I'll take this one on because it has some overarching elements related to the city. So just as Blanca stated earlier in her director's report, we're currently in the process of doing both the EDC and the city audit. And working with our auditors, they have recommended that we propose to the board an acceptance of a fixed asset schedule. this is something that I think it's a good routine to do it, as you remove assets, but at least annually. And per the record we found, I don't believe this has been done in a while. So what Blanca does have, and again, Chris helped a lot in putting this together, but what we did, Blanca and her team worked through all the assets and they try to verify as much as possible. It was a really heavy lift, but what they have done, and I believe, Blanca, are you going to show that screen? If you could pull that up, I'll share with the board exactly what they're looking at. So what these are assets and equipment, and they have identified some of those that have been, they're old, obsolete, and have fully depreciated. So some of those we should remove them. But what I will say that there are some properties here that are 100% not verified yet. I think we need some additional time, and probably, we're probably looking at bringing in an additional resource to assist with that process. But we're going to take a conservative approach. This is the fixed asset list that we have to present at this point. So again, by meaning conservative, we actually kept some on at this point that we're not 100% verified that they should be removed, because keeping them on, poses no penalty for us right now. But as we continue through this process, this fiscal year, we'll probably do this twice this fiscal year, but it's a good exercise to do this at least annually, and we can do this in tandem with our audit process. So I do want to remind everybody that, again, elaborating a little bit on what Blanca said, just to get the timing perfect, because we are doing this tandem of EDC and the city. Most likely we're going to have a recommend a special meeting just to have that one single item, so we can just take care of that business to match up with the city, so we can get those in. But our goal is to get our audits both completed 100% in the month of March, which is faring much better than we did last time. I think we're back on schedule. So this is just something, this is kind of a housekeeping activity. And again, this is just something for awareness, but this would be an action item accepting what staff has recommended to depreciate. So there are some items that on the property description, they are vague, and they're vague because we have not verified all the data. And again, the staff they're completely going with, they're working with the county trying to verify deeds, all our records. We've reached out to previous staff, but that's where we're at right now. So I try to summarize that simply. It's a complicated process, but again, we're taking a conservative approach just to get rid of some of those assets that are obsolete.
Mr. Garza, can I add something?
Sure, of course.
And this is just so the board can follow the list here. So these are the items for the equipment that are fully depreciated that will be removed from that fixed asset list. And this is for the property that was previously disposed, meaning that the EDC no longer owns. So there are 5 items here. So this is the list that we're proposing to remove from the current list that we have. And this list here is all of the properties, and the ones that have a D are the ones that were outlined in the previous one. Let me scroll up here. So you see the equipment that's fully depreciated here. We're going to remove that if it's approved. And then the properties that we know for a fact that the EDC does not own will be removed as well, like this one, this one. So everything else, we're still verifying.
So are there any questions in terms of the process? And again, I think also definitely want to commend the group, because what they're doing while they're going through this, they're backing up all the information and digitizing all the paper files. But what they're literally having to do is going through boxes of paper files to verify and gather any information based on those somewhat minimal descriptions.
I'd say great job. We know there was a lot of backlog, and it's good to clean house. So I'm glad y'all are cleaning house and cleaning up the books.
Sure, we still got quite a bit of ways to go. Again, this is kind of an organic process, but to satisfy the recommendation of the audit, so we can move forward, I think we're at a good spot.
Thanks. Anybody have any questions? No. All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the fixed asset schedule as of 9/30 to include in the fiscal year 2020 audit.
Make a motion.
Second.
I think Aaron, you said second. You're on. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Moving on to agenda item D, consider the approval of the term waiver for the incentive payments for Taco Palenque UTRGV LLC due to the hardship of COVID-19. Blanca, I believe we have a presentation.
Yes, I'll give an overview to the board as a summary. In the previous board meeting in January, this item was presented as Taco Palenque TP UTRGV LLC requested a waiver on their second anniversary term for location 1, which is a Taco Palenque on University Drive. In that same agreement, there's a second location as well for Palenque Grill that's located at the shops within the city of Edinburg. And they have met their first installment, their first term for the first installment, their second term for their first anniversary on their location of their opening of their stores happened during September 2020, I'm sorry. And then the second one was December 2020 as well. And as you know, we've been in the year of the pandemic, so they're requesting a waiver for that. They did include a presentation in their packet where they address some of the board's questions on their sales and their number of employees. And I do believe that they included how many employees they hired again after the pandemic, or like that dip of the closing of the stores, of the mandate of the government and the city of Edinburg. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and they're also here as part of the Zoom if you have any questions for them.
Blanca, this is Dan. I know the report's there, and I know you went over it, so if you could just summarize the overall. I see negative 40%, and obviously we all know how COVID hit. In the initial meeting, we just wanted to make sure that the numbers were there to justify our own personal decisions, but if you just want to summarize that for us.
Yes, as far as the sales, the loss of sales?
Correct.
Yeah. So in their report, they're included like a weekly summary, and you can see in the report, and this is on the sales on the TP UTRGV. You could see on week 9 through the 17th, I guess, 9th to 15th, 17th, where it was a clear dip, and that was when the pandemic happened. That was around March. So you can see the dip and the loss there from 70,000 sales going to 40,000. So that was a significant loss. And there was also employee loss. Around week 15, which was around April, they applied for the PPP. I know that was one of the questions that was asked. They applied for the PPP, and they did mention that was very helpful. That aided them in hiring some of the people that they let go to hire them back. And you can see an increase in sales there on week 17 for the Taco Palenque. So overall, you can see from the time they opened, which is September 2019 to September 19, 2020, that they were never really fully recovered. They're doing well, but they never reached back up to that 70,000 average of sales. So there's an average about 20% down in sales. They did cut back on personnel, and another thing that was mentioned was that they lost their third shift, meaning that they had to let go of that more people, right? So they were never again fully able to get back on track as they were before the pandemic. Does that answer your question, Mr. Dan?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
If I may, I just have an observation, and just looking at the numbers which I looked at. If we take just December, the week, 49.50, 51.52, they were down 16.12% in sales, which is a really good rebound compared to where they were. But they only utilized 57% of last December's hours. And so that seems, how do we hold folks accountable in terms of, are they justifying the hours being used again based on the actual numbers? Am I making sense? If you take December, week 49, 50, 51, 52, they were down 16.12% versus December of 2019. Yet they only used 57% of last December's hours. So it's about a 20-something% gap in hours to sell. So are they here to answer that, Blanca?
Yes. We have Mr. Manuel Villarreal. I think his name is Mr. Melo, Alejandro Monroy, and Humberto Alanis.
¿Me lo podrías contestar, por favor?
Sí, buenas. En las últimas 4 semanas, ¿en español o inglés?
Si puede en español, mejor, Raúl.
Ok.
Por favor, gracias.
Las últimas, sí, no, de nada. Las últimas semanas de diciembre, a comparar de 2020 a 2019, nomás estaban bajo en ventas al 16%, 16.12, ¿verdad? Pero nomás utilizaron 57% de las horas que utilizaron el 2020, el mismo mes de 2019, diciembre de 2019. Y nomás una pregunta, porque si las ventas están nomás al 16% abajo de diciembre a diciembre, ¿por qué no estamos también agresivos con las horas, agregando personas en el schedule?
Sí, eso obedece, señor Reséndez, principalmente a los esquemas de operación de las tiendas, ¿verdad? En diciembre del año pasado, bueno, en este caso del año antepasado, que fue el 2019, estábamos instalados en una operación, por decirlo de alguna manera, pues ya ordenada, ya muy dominada y demás, ¿verdad? Esto era porque, de acuerdo a lo que se manejó con la ciudad de Edinburg, íbamos nosotros a cerrar la tienda de McAllen con el propósito de movernos a Edinburg, ¿verdad? Entonces, cuando se hizo ese cierre de una tienda a la otra, cuando se hizo, por decirlo de alguna manera, el bypass de una tienda a otra, pues la operación requirió esas horas, ¿verdad? ¿Por qué? Pues digamos que así estaba de alguna manera estructurada la plantilla y la relación en este caso de oferta-demanda requirió esa plantilla, ¿verdad?
Pero estamos hablando de la tienda de Edinburg, en la UTRGV, en la página 46.
¿Esto es Taco Palenque?
Sí.
Ok. Sí, mire, aquí está muy claro. Nosotros nos vimos en la necesidad de disminuir la plantilla porque la ciudad nos hizo un toque de queda, donde no podemos operar en el turno de la noche. Entonces, estamos sin operar en el turno de la noche desde que inició la pandemia. estamos reducidos a dos turnos. La venta en el turno de la noche no es tan alta, más bien es una línea de drive-thru que pues nosotros ofrecemos como un servicio, pero las ventas más fuertes están concentradas en el turno del día y en el turno de la tarde. Esta reducción de plantilla obedece precisamente al toque de queda que nos marca la ciudad, que de hecho todavía seguimos cerrados, ¿verdad? Entonces, desde que iniciamos la plantilla hasta ahorita, estamos trabajando nada más a 2 turnos en lugar de 3. Y
sí, pero mi pregunta, señor Verial, es nomás si miramos a diciembre, ¿verdad? Ya se está mejorando.
Sí.
Sus ventas nomás, y es lo bueno, que estamos mirando que se está mejorando, que es lo que queremos.
Sí.
En diciembre nomás estaban bajo 16% las ventas de Taco Palenque UTRGV.
Ajá.
Ok. Y la última semana nomás eran 2.91, o sea, ya mero llegamos al positivo, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Pero las horas no se agregaron considerablemente igual como están siguiendo las ventas.
Sí.
¿Me entiendes?
Fíjese, principalmente es por eso, porque nosotros seguimos trabajando 2 turnos y estamos con las plantillas cubiertas a 2 turnos. Entonces,
sí, pero si le quitaron el drive-thru, esto quiere decir que las ventas están viniendo en el día más, ¿verdad?
Exacto. Aquí
los que estaban trabajando en la noche realmente van a necesitar más ayuda en el día.
Así es. Fíjese que el mes de diciembre es un mes un tanto peculiar por precisamente la demanda que hay. Diciembre es un mes de mucha venta en la mayoría de nuestras tiendas.
Sí, entonces, entiendo. Por eso miré a diciembre, porque era el mismo diciembre de 2019 sin COVID.
Así es. Así es. Y aquí bueno, la diferencia en horas, perdón que lo interrumpa, señor.
No, está bien.
La diferencia en horas se debe precisamente a que estamos trabajando nada más 2 turnos. Esa es la diferencia en horas.
¿Y enero, cómo se miró enero?
Enero, digamos, seguimos trabajando nada más a 2 turnos.
¿Con las ventas?
Y las ventas, no las traigo aquí a la mano, las tendrás tú, Alejandro, las ventas de enero de la tienda de universidad. Alejandro Monroy, ¿sí me escuchas?
A lo mejor está muted.
Sí. Deme un segundo, voy a buscarlo a su lugar. Un segundo, no tardo.
Un segundo, ya lo estoy revisando.
Blanca, I have a question while we let them gather the information. So the in question here was the number of people that were going to be hired by a certain timeline, correct?
Yes.
The percentage-wise, how far off were they? I want to compare the percentage to the drop in sales.
Right.
Kind of simplify things a little.
So as per the contract, they are required to have 50 full-time employees on staff on their first year anniversary, which that is September 20th, 2020, right? On that month, they had 37 full-time employees. They didn't have 50, so they didn't meet their term, right? And they expressed hardship because of the pandemic. They lost the 3rd shift, their sales went down, hence they did not, they could not and did not need to hire all these different people, right? But things are looking up as you see the charts, right? Things are looking up for Taco Palenque. And that's, they were off by 13 employees.
So basically they were 74% towards their goal, right?
Correct.
About
correct. So they were only 23% off.
Right.
And I think what's the sales drop in that time frame you're asking about?
16%.
16.
Sí. quisiera nada más también hacer un comentario, señor Reséndez, señorías. Allí hay dos razones principales por las cuales se tuvo que dar esta reducción de personal. Una se debe a que, como les comentaba, el turno de la noche no podemos operar. Y la segunda es que también tenemos una, digamos así, indicación también por parte de la ciudad y por parte en este caso, el gobierno de Texas, de no operar más arriba del 50% de nuestro aforo en tiendas. Entonces, dadas estas dos, por decirlo así, ordenanzas que tenemos, una por parte del Estado y otra por parte de la ciudad, no podemos operar más. Sin embargo, lo que viene siendo la cocina, lo que viene siendo la gente del drive-thru, que es lo que atendemos de día, pues eso nos ha permitido dar la respuesta que nuestro público, que en este caso nuestros invitados, requieren de venta, ¿verdad? Entonces, esas son las principales razones por las cuales estamos reducidos en cuanto al número de gente, ¿verdad? Principalmente esas son las razones.
Just for those that want the English translation, so Mr. Alanis, I believe, was saying that part of the reason that their employee count is lower is because of the 50% reduction of that the state had mandated, that all the different changes that the state had made for the restaurants and the capacity. So the numbers they had, we have to keep in mind that the numbers they did have were with all those restrictions, with the 50% capacity and the limited, I think they didn't run the night shift anymore due to the numbers. And so even with all that, they were only like 23% under the employees. Kind of a uphill thing, and they almost got it. Like Sabrina said, they were 74% to their goal with all those factors.
And I might be a little bit biased because I'm in the hotel industry and we got slammed just as hard as the restaurant industry. So I definitely feel their pain. To put it in context, I laid off everyone except for my managers. We literally ran the hotel. I did night shift for like 3 months. So I get what they're coming at whenever, they had to cut the staff to survive. And I know holistically, that they're a large company and all that, but these individual 2 locations really hurt, and they made a good effort in my mind to really meet that goal and stay true to all their staff. And like me, myself, as soon as we got back up on our feet and we started hiring everybody back, it looks like they made the same effort as business picked up. So did the employee count. And it looked like they're going to continue the trend of keep growing and meeting the goal hopefully next year.
I'm also with you here with Taco Palenque. I know that it's a family-owned business, and they've been very good in most cities that they're in. And they're showing a sign of bouncing back, and I have whole faith that they're going to do that. And they're probably going to end up hiring more people on the long run. So I'm very confident in their ability, and that they're going to be able to meet their what's due from them in the future.
Did we get January's numbers? Blanca?
Yes, we were below 6%. But we have to remember something that is very important, because on January there was the second stimulus on individuals. So it was also a very atypical January, because as Humberto mentioned, on December is stationary because we will have all the money that is spent on Christmas season. And then on almost all Januaries we have a very bad January, because people have already spent their money, but this was a very atypical also January. So we were only below minus 6%. And also I want to also to add, besides what Humberto mentioned, I think that one important thing regarding the people that are being used at the stores is that with all the pandemic, all the sale channels have changed. So it's not as demanding as having an open restaurant at 100%, because you're attending different channels of sales that are curbside, that are applications. So it's different, the composition that you need right now comparing to 1 year after, 1 year before, sorry. So that is also an important thing to consider, I believe.
I can definitely speak to that. We spent a lot of money changing kind of the way we do business just because guests wanted different things, like literally curbside check-ins at a hotel. I was like, I'd never seen that before, but we had to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think all these restaurants would have curbside and apps and all that like they do now, like from before, right? So I think a lot of technology and stuff, they probably spent, you know, that some of those funds in those areas as well.
Bueno, ya en base a lo que estuvieron ahorita comentando, digo, somos una compañía que ahorita da 1,400 empleos. Somos una compañía que seguimos pagando impuestos, seguimos siendo una fuente generadora de empleos. Nuestra operación no ha cesado ni un solo día en la ciudad de Edinburg, a lo que se refiere a lo que es el Taco Palenque. A diferencia de Palenque Grill, que sí tuvimos que cerrar durante 3 meses, y pese a eso, bueno, pues seguimos generando empleo, seguimos generando trabajo, seguimos sirviendo a nuestra comunidad. Y esto, bueno, vaya, es algo que somos efecto de una pandemia que es histórica, ¿verdad? Pero definitivamente si la pandemia no hubiera ocurrido, pues ahorita seguiríamos siendo, al menos en Taco Palenque, si ustedes pudieron ver lo que fue el reporte de nuestros quarters en lo que fueron las 941, que son nuestras declaraciones de impuestos, pueden ver que seguimos generando impuestos también, y que antes de la pandemia en promedio éramos 87 personas en esa tienda al mes. Entonces, con la pandemia bajamos primero a 52, a 49, y luego fuimos bajando a 46. Y créanos que seguimos haciendo un gran esfuerzo como negocio para poder servir a nuestra comunidad. Entonces, quiero subrayar que estas disminuciones de plantilla son producto y efecto de la pandemia, y son producto y efecto de las ordenanzas que tanto el gobierno de Texas como la ciudad de Edinburg nos han indicado, y que nosotros hemos respetado y hemos seguido. Oye, hay toque de queda, no hay turno de noche, se quitó. Oye, baja, ya no puedes dar servicio en el restaurante, se cierra el restaurante, puro drive-thru, puro to-go, puro delivery. O sea, nos hemos ido adaptando a la situación y a la realidad. No es algo que sea ajeno a eso, vaya, en pocas palabras. Esa es la situación, esa es la realidad. Y bueno, pues nosotros estamos siguiendo propiamente lo que las instituciones nos han marcado, y bueno, pues este estímulo que de alguna manera nos ofrecieron la ciudad de Edimburgo para abrir negocio en Edimburgo, lo hemos cumplido. O sea, ahí están las unidades jalando, ahí están generando empleos, ahí están generando impuestos, ahí están dando un servicio comunitario. Entonces, esa es nuestra realidad.
La razón por qué preguntamos estas preguntas es que usted realmente tenemos muchos restaurantes chicos aquí en la ciudad de Edimburgo que no ganaron nada de ayuda. Y Taco Palenque, lo que usted hace mucho para la comunidad también, eso sí. Pero nos preguntan, ¿por qué Taco Palenque? ¿Y por qué el patio, la Palma, el JC que acaba de cerrar? ¿Por qué a nosotros no nos ayudan? ¿Verdad? Tenemos que preguntar para asegurar que la comunidad de Edimburgo sepa que sí estamos haciendo todo bien, y también asegurando que estamos en el mismo plano para todos, no nomás a las organizaciones grandes como ustedes. También tenemos que poner atención a los restaurantes chicos.
Es muy cierto, señor Reséndez.
Y cuando nosotros estamos en la comunidad, es lo que nos preguntan: ¿por qué Taco Palenque? ¿Por qué Bird Ogden? ¿Por qué La Reno? ¿Por qué yo no? Sí. ¿Verdad? Sí. Preguntamos eso no para hacer los males o es porque aquí nos pusieron la comunidad para preguntar estas preguntas?
Claro, sí, es muy válido, señor Reséndez. Yo creo que la transparencia con la que siempre se ha movido, en este caso, la ciudad de Edimburgo, en todo este tipo de casos, se debe de seguir. O sea, yo creo que la transparencia en las decisiones que se toman son vitales para cualquier entidad diplomática.
Exactamente.
Sin embargo, pues bueno, nosotros tratamos también de responder con mucho respeto esto, ¿verdad? Pero sí queremos hacer y subrayar, ¿verdad? ¿Por qué Taco Palenque sí? Bueno, Taco Palenque sí porque Taco Palenque entró un programa de un incentivo económico. Pues esto no es una ayuda, es un incentivo económico por hacer negocio en la ciudad de Edinburg. ¿Por qué Taco Palenque sí? Porque Taco Palenque recibió 2 ordenanzas muy fuertes. Una, de operar al 50% tus tiendas. Y 2, de que no puedes trabajar en el turno de la noche, ¿verdad? Y precisamente...
Pero así es igual para todos los restaurantes.
Sí, sí.
Raul and Mr. Humberto, sorry, I don't want to get off topic here. I understand, there were plenty of other restaurants that were hurt and etc. But here we're discussing this contract and this individual. Every restaurant had a chance could have applied as well. So I don't want to get.
Right, but it's important to know why we're asking the question.
Claro, sí es muy importante.
I understand that, but like.
A ver, Melo, ¿quieres hablar, Melo? Perdóname. No sé si ya puedas activar el micrófono.
Hello.
Es que tiene dos pantallas, Melo.
Sí, Melo, si quieres
Manuel.
Si quieres poner en mute una de las 2 pantallas que tienes abiertas para poder escucharte sin eco.
Yeah, he just needs something.
No se escucha.
Hello.
Ahora sí
te escuchamos, Melo.
Okay. Yeah, well, to answer the question, and my name is Melo Villarreal. I've been with Palenque Group for many years. And well, to answer particularly your question, Mr. Raul, one of the reasons why Taco Palenque and maybe some other smaller restaurants didn't get the PPPs or whatever, well, the main reason is the model or the design of the business, because our design of business is 24 hours, 356 days on the year open, with heavy payrolls, heavy payrolls. So when the program came, the PPP program came, we took it because we had a lot of people that were paying, the heavy payrolls. And the smaller restaurants, sometimes they operate with, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have friends that have restaurants and they operate restaurants with 2, 3, 4 people. We operate restaurants with 60 people. That's one of the answers in regards to your question that you were having, Mr. Raul. But in all honesty, we're just kindly asking for your consideration, guys, on this incentive program that we kindly ask, that we kindly sign also, and we love the city, and we would love to continue, working with the city and in any other programs or growing our restaurants there with you guys in the city. That's practically what I want to tell you.
Thank you, sir. And I guess in the interest of time, Dan, if you want to say one more thing.
Yeah, I just want to say, completely understand Raul's concerns. We do have to have answers that we can justify our decisions. But as a business owner, I feel like I need to narrow this, and we need a little more tunnel. We're talking about PPP. We're talking about all these things. What was done with PPP or not, that's really not our concern.
Yes, sir.
Our thing here is to decide whether we should give them the waiver on an incentive program that brought some restaurants to the city. Most of us were not on the board when this was established. It looks like it was established in good faith. It looks like it was all done in good faith. And if it hadn't been for the pandemic, the ordinances, and the cutting off of the ability of them to do their job, and of course this unprecedented pandemic, they would have met all those requirements. So what's at task is not what was done with the money or whatever.
Yes, sir.
What the question is, do they deserve the numbers that were promised to them, taking into consideration the limitations to their business? So I think we just need to focus a little bit on that.
Yeah, that is correct.
I agree with you 100%, Dan. And you basically said most of what I was about to say.
Yeah, as a business owner, we can say there was other monies, but that's not a question here. And it's not to discount Raul's point, because we do have to we have to be able to tell the other businesses. But unfortunately, this was an incentive program to bring Taco Palenque into the city. I, for one, am glad they're here. I'm tired of driving to McAllen for the food. That's really what's at question here. So,
I'd also like to jump in and just say, I'd like to thank you and Taco Palenque for doing business in Edinburg, and we will certainly try to do as much as we can to help you. And I think that we've asked enough questions to where we know, and we can make a decision based on what we know at this point. And again, thank you for doing business and for doing what you do. We're very appreciative of Taco Palenque.
And also, we also want to thank you, Blanca and her team. They have been amazingly helpful. We've been talking with Blanca and her team for the past since September last year, a little bit before September, when the year was ending, particularly on our store, our Taco Palenque store there on the UT, the UT location there. So they have been phenomenal with us, and we want to tell you that we congratulate them very much, Miriam and Blanca particularly.
Thank you for that, Melo. Yeah, we're real proud of the staff, and I also want to thank Mr. Alanis and Mr. Monroy for answering all our questions. It's really what we wanted last meeting, so we made an informed decision. And like Ron said, I think we have enough information to make our decision.
Thank you.
Anybody need that in Spanish? Mr. Alanis, ¿está bien?
It's okay.
No, estamos bien.
I'll translate him, don't worry.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Un verdadero gusto conocerlos. Para mí es una gran experiencia todo esto que nos ha tocado vivir, y precisamente esta junta, estar en un board así de este nivel, pues para mí en lo particular un gran honor y una grata experiencia. Y bueno, pues a sus órdenes aquí en Taco Palenque en lo que les podamos servir.
We're grateful for the invite to the meeting for Mr. Alanis. He's our human resources director, and for him is the first time he's on a city meeting, or so we're honored to be here also. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your presentation, and thank you, board, for all of your comments. And I definitely feel for the reasoning for all the questioning and everything. I completely understand that. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the waiver for incentive payments for TPUTRGV due to the hardship of COVID.
Make that motion.
I second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Now entertain a motion to move to executive.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. It is 5:04 p.m. We'll be moving to executive session.
The recording has been paused, and everyone will be moved to everyone that's not a board member will be moved to the waiting room.
open session.
Motion to re-enter.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. It's now 5:48 p.m. and we're in open session. Do we have anything else we need to discuss?
Yes, Mr. President. We would like to, what was discussed in the executive session is authorize staff to proceed to negotiate amendments to the contract on the property located at Trenton Road as discussed.
All right. Do you need a vote for that, Omar?
Yeah, so that was a motion, so we just need a second.
Second that motion.
Okay.
All those in... Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Roland.
Go ahead, Aaron.
No, actually, I believe you need to do it.
Okay. All those in favor signify by raising their right hand.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
One abstention.
One abstention. Yes. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right. If there's no other business to be discussed, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Please raise your right hand.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe,
Take care.
Yes, sir.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.